Is this a reboot of Computing Forever? I hate when they bring back old shows. They're always woke and filled with the message. They'll probably put a chick in it and make it lame and gay.
Hey there. Been a while.
I'm back.
What I've learned over the past 4.5 years is that what YouTube giveth a channel, YouTube can taketh away if, and then eventually giveth backeth, apparently. So what's going on here exactly? Let's take a look at this article from reclaimthenet.org. Google admits Biden White House pressured content removal, promises to restore banned YouTube accounts. After years of denying bias, Google now concedes that it gave in to pressure from the Biden White House to remove content that did not breach its own rules. The admission comes alongside a promise to restore access to YouTube accounts permanently removed for political speech related to COVID-19 and elections, topics where government officials had applied behind-the-scenes pressure to control the narrative. A private company being pressured by a government to remove content? This move follows sustained scrutiny from the House Judiciary Committee, which Reclaim the Net covered extensively, led by Chairman Jim Jordan, who issued a subpoena and spearheaded an investigation that revealed the extent of government influence on content moderation decisions at Google. In a letter from its legal representative, Google confirmed that it faced pressure from the federal government to suppress lawful speech. Now, let's take a look at that letter. I'm going to skip down a bit to this portion, the Biden administration and Alphabet. It says the COVID-19 pandemic was an unprecedented time in which online platforms had to reach decisions about how best to balance freedom of expression with responsibility, including responsibility with respect to the moderation of user-generated content that could result in real-world harm. Number 8. Senior Biden administration officials, including White House officials, conducted repeated and sustained outreach to Alphabet and pressed the company regarding certain user-generated content related to the COVID-19 pandemic that did not violate its policies. While the company continued to develop and enforce its policies independently, Biden administration officials continued to press the company to remove non-violative user-generated content. As online platforms, including Alphabet, grappled with these decisions, the administration's officials, including President Biden, created a political atmosphere that sought to influence the actions of platforms based on their concerns regarding misinformation. Number 10, it is unacceptable and wrong when any government, including the Biden administration, attempts to dictate how the company moderates content, and the company has consistently fought against these efforts on First Amendment grounds. Now, it says here, the company has transparently evolved its policy framework related to COVID-19 to ensure space for further debate and discussion on the platform. YouTube never had community guidelines prohibiting discussions of the origins of the COVID-19 pandemic. As publicly announced in 2023, YouTube ended several COVID-19 content policies. As of December 2024, YouTube retired the remaining standalone COVID-19 policies and allowed discussion of various treatments for COVID-19. And number 18 there is very important as well. On key issues of medical content, YouTube policies continued to evolve in line with a dynamic environment. Health authorities have changed their guidance over time, and Alphabet's policies have evolved as well. YouTube's current approach allows a wide range of content regarding COVID-19 and elections. While the reliance on health authorities in this context was well-intentioned, the company recognizes it should never have come at the expense of public debate on these important issues, which of course was what some of us were saying at the time. And look, that's all well and good, but it doesn't bring back the last 4.5 years. Some professional content creators had their very livelihoods adversely affected. Now, I don't know what's going to come out of this long term. There is an X account, by the way, called Updates from YouTube. And they said, we've had a lot of questions about a pathway back to YouTube for some terminated creators to set up a new channel. This will be a limited pilot project that will be available to a subset of creators in addition to those channels terminated for policies that have been deprecated. Jeez, I'm so rusty at this. More to come soon. So it sounds like they're going to take appeals on a case-by-case basis. Expect to see some users return in drips and drabs, maybe. Now, as for some channels that were removed much further back, I don't know about those. But I don't know how long YouTube keeps channels archived for. So I guess some people are going to have to start new ones if they're allowed back on. Now, I have to say, I'm not overly resentful, actually. I mean, it has been 4.5 years. It's not like I could sustain that level of resentment and upset for that amount of time. You know, I did move on. So it's nice to have the channel back in that regards. Yeah, it's years lost, I suppose. But, you know, I'm just glad to be back. It is a flaky business, this social media thing. And it got me thinking about just the nature of social media censorship and how we do need to have a discussion about all of this and what it means, because we have these huge, big tech companies, these big social networks that have carved out significant niches in the public sphere. And if you're not on those platforms on the internet, you practically don't exist in a way, right? They have such massive monopolies over the public square. And, you know, as much as this, I think these potential reinstatements, allowing people back on the platform, I think that's a step in the right direction. Twitter has done that, of course, now X. So I think this is, you know, positive for freedom of speech. But of course, some people remain censored for other topics. And when it comes to community guidelines or policy violations of whatever social network it may be, you know, up until recently, a banning on a social network is like a permanent thing. So imagine a hypothetical situation where an 18-year-old young person is banned off a social network and then they're still banned like 50 years later when they're nearly 70. I find that ridiculous. They're not even the same person anymore at that point. And I think that has to be taken into account as well. So I would like to see some sort of agreement, some sort of social media amnesty agreement by big social networks in this regard, where after, say, 3 years or so, the person is allowed back on the platform and it's a blank slate. And also the political landscape changes, as I think we're seeing now. There's discussions now, there's topics now that have entered the zeitgeist that would simply not have been entertained a few years ago. So things are changing. But look, this turnaround from YouTube is a positive thing. It is a step in the right direction overall. So let's keep the conversation going. But anyway, ultimately, safeguards and regulatory protections need to be put in place to ensure that the kind of political censorship we've witnessed in recent years doesn't come to pass again. Yeah, I know. Keep dreaming, Dave. So yeah, there you go. That's the story there. We're back. We're so back. But anyway, thank you to everybody for your very kind words and your warm welcome in the comments of the previous video. I have to say, looking forward to taking the channel back to its tech roots as well. All right then. Thanks very much for watching. Take care. And yeah, I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.